Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of FHW Radio. I'm here with Jack. I'm Jim, and tonight we'll be
Up.
discussing. What?
Jack at Flyers Jack. Just wanted to get that in there. I'm getting a little more active on Twitter, as you can see. I've made a couple more friends, making some comments. People are pretty funny. Some people you have to explain what sarcasm is, but other than that, they're pretty good all around. Especially the Flyers crew. Nobody really fights with each other because I think we're all in agreement this team has some massive issues. My favorite Twitter guy I usually see though is the guy pretending to be Hackstall. His name of his Twitter handle is like Veteran Presence. And every time he just kills me because it's not. I can honestly see Hacksaw talking like that. It makes me laugh. I guess we'll just jump right into it. We missed the lots. We missed 2 weeks. This is why we're trying to get maybe bang 2 podcasts out this week. We'll see. It depends. But the first game we would like to talk about was the absolute travesty of a game in Boston where they just did not show up. And shockingly, they were in it for, until the third? I think one of the first goals scored at the end of the second, I believe, or something like that. And there was just an unimaginable amount of penalties. And I remember Lindblom coming out of the box and playing the puck, and he got sent right back in the but the main thing I noticed was their penalty kill. Just leaving people wide open in front. It's like you can see how bad they can play. Like any average fan can see what they're doing wrong, and just status quo, nothing happens, and it's almost not worth talking about. They went into Boston, they got absolutely embarrassed. Not one player played well, and we all were like, "This is Hacksaw seats warm," which leads me into they come back home and they play the New York Islanders. This team just lost John Tavares, and they replaced him with Valerie Flippola. Like, okay, I know they made some other signings, got a decent goal. You lose 6-1 at home? Are you friggin' kidding me? But we all know Hacksaw's not going to. So absolute travesty of a game, which I want to ask you this, Jimmy. So then Hacksaw had some comments, I believe it was around after that game, about the Philadelphia fans. You have any idea what that was?
Yeah, I mean, somebody asked him a question about, what's the problem playing at home? Is there a problem? And he fell right into the trap. They got what they wanted out of him. He said straight up, we play a little tighter. We don't play as loose, shit like that. And right away, to me, that's blaming the fans. Like, what do you want? You want us to cheer for losing 6-1?
See, what gets me about that is 2 things. One, it tells me that your team can't get up for the big games, and if you go back to all their playoff series and any of the Winter Classics or really important games against good teams, they don't get up for good games. They can't play in high pressure situations. So how are you going to win anything? So that's already an idiotic comment. But then just flat out blaming anybody, especially the fans, is flat out sad. I get that they're human, but there's 31 other leagues 30 other teams in the league that deal with the same problem for the most part, and they usually are just fine. Like this, it's flat out sad. He's reaching for anything at this point because he flat out has no clue what he's doing. So they lose horribly to the Islanders, and I'll lead right into the
excuses, man. Like, I know I've said it in the past, and I'm not sure a lot of people agree with me, but there's definitely a lack of leadership and a lack of I think it's accountability, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not going to say anything negative about Giroux, about Simmons. But I think there's definitely a lack of, someone's got to step up. I mean, and I don't just mean, who's going to score a couple goals here and there, but who's going to get in somebody's face when things aren't going right. When Gossesbear, we were talking earlier before we started the show, when Gossesbear goes over and screams to the fans, who's the veteran that's going to get in his face and tell him to focus, man? Because if you can hear the fans telling you shoot, are you focused? How do you? I mean, me and you used to play sports, right? I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but when you were playing a game, did you hear anything going on outside of the game?
No, to be honest with you, no. Like I have, but not. I get what you're saying. Like when I was playing any sport, I really didn't hear anything except for my own teammates or my coach. It was like weird. It's like you could channel out what you needed to channel. And I even on a fly ball in left field, like I was running for it, and I didn't know this, but like I was being heckled. I didn't know. I realized it when I like kind of like I had no chance, but you always go for it. So I went into the slide, and I was like way short because it was screamed at me, and the whole time, and I ran a good distance, and it wasn't until the ball like hit the ground and I had grabbed it and threw it to the cutoff man that I actually started to hear the fans be like, "Oh, dude, we didn't have that one," But it's like that was after the I'm done my portion, So like if he's getting that mad, and he's done this before, where he's like, "Shut up," like really, that's your demeanor.
Well, who's coaching him up? Because that's where like a coaching opportunity or a leadership opportunity comes in. And again, not saying anything negative about the top guys. God forbid. Someone's got to be correcting that stuff,
No, you're not wrong. And you would hope it'd be the coaching, but we can't rely on them. And I can't say nothing is said. He is still young, but it's not showing if it is.
And that's why I'm a little bit you froze, so I'm not sure.
His stick's a little too tight. They play a little tighter just because they're home. That's ridiculous. You're that afraid of your own fans because you play that poorly that you're trying too hard. Like you're a professional hockey player. Been doing this for how long?
Sorry for cursing.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
How can you play loose under a guy like that, where if you make one mistake, you're on the bench? If you're a younger guy, how can you play loose?
That makes more sense to me than the fans, at least for the younger guys. Or if you make a mistake, your goalie ends up letting you pay for it because God forbid he bail you out of anything. So, that being said, it looked like things might have been turning around. But see, don't let it fool you. They played Anaheim and LA, who are two of the worst teams in the league right now. At least I don't know if the record really shows it. It does for LA, who just fired John Stevens. I wish we were that reactionary. They've had a better record than we have over the past 5 seasons or 4 seasons, yet Hackstall's still here. And I want to get into why Hackstall's still here a little bit too, if we have time. So they beat Anaheim in a pretty close game. Same in LA, pretty close game. But there were a lot of intervals where they just looked really good. Like their passing was on. Of course they had their gaffes because they always do. But you thought maybe they're turning a corner. Where all I'm thinking is there's no way Hackstall gets fired now. He's making it to the trade deadline at least. Like and then they play a real team like San Jose, and they scored like real quick. You're like, whoa, okay. And then they led the whole game, and then Joe Thornton comes down and gets a softy past Picard. I was not happy with that goal at all. But just because the hockey gods, and I just want to get this, and I'll let you go. Didn't think that was enough to piss me off. They went to overtime, and I don't know what Ghost heard there because he was in San Jose, he wasn't in Philly. Can't blame that one on the fans. But it looked like Voracek lost a board battle, which it happens, and they both deferred to each other to go chasing for the puck. Like Voracek was like, "All right, you got it," and Ghost was like, "No, you got it," and it turns into a clear as day 2-on-1, and they easily get it by Picard. I heard it may have deflected off Ghost's stick or something like that, but it's overtime. What the hell was that? That was so stupid and pathetic. So you can't blame that one on the fans, but it was like, how'd you let that one slip away? You still could have got 2 points out of that one, and you didn't even show up for overtime, and just silly debacle. You don't see other teams do this crap. You don't. Like, at least not this consistently. And it's just, and now we come in tonight against Arizona. But, Jimmy, your thoughts on the West Coast trip?
So, I guess overall, 5 out of 6 points. If you're losing the last game, 5 out of 6 points out west, you're probably pretty happy with that, right? You wouldn't really expect that. But
the way this team has been playing, no, not at all.
Right, and then if you watch the San Jose game, they were up against a better team, more talented team, a team that blew them out 8-2 in Philly, and they played them tough. I'm not sure if they should have been, if they even should have been leading 3-2 in the third period, but they were. They did enough to take a lead, and once the third period hit, it was like the turtle. In soccer, they call it the bunker. Everybody kind of sits back and they just keep dumping the ball. You know, they play for the win or even the tie. And with Hackstall, he just goes into turtle mode, man. And it's like, it's so frustrating to watch because if you would just play like 50-50 hockey instead of, 75% possession one way, 25 the other way, like, dude, the odds are not in your favor to win that game. You're going up against a more talented team, and you're giving them possession of the puck for a majority of the period. And for me, it was only a matter of time before that happened. TK hit the post, San Jose came right down, and then it just happened to be Joe Thornton to score. They take it to overtime, and before you could even, blink, the Sharks scored. So I was a little bit disappointed because it should have been 6 points. Did you hear Odin over there?
Is that what that is?
Yeah. Oh, you good?
He's upset. He didn't like. He thought they should have came away with 2 points.
He's upset too. Yeah. So I mean, I watched a Hackstall interview after the game, and somebody mentioned that to him, and I was a little bit surprised. I actually laughed because it was pretty comical the way he reacted. Somebody asked, "Are you happy with 5 out of 6 out west?" And before he could even finish the sentence, he said, "No, I'm disappointed because we should have won tonight. We should have had 6 points," which I agree. But it just seemed so inauthentic the way he was trying to show his anger. You know what I mean? It just didn't.
I didn't see that. Did he come off like he was happy that he got 2 wins and played a pretty good game against San Jose, but he had to fake the fact, no, I wanted all 6 points. So really, he's like, oh.
Yeah, it just looked so fake. Like it looked like I don't know. I can't. I'm trying to think who asked the question.
It wasn't John Bork, was it?
No, it was Sam. Shit, I follow him.
Charkey? How do you say it? I can't remember.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know who you mean.
On a good day, I get it right.
Yeah, it was him that asked the question, and before he could finish, Hack kind of turned and was like, "No, we should have had 2 points tonight." And Sam's just like, "Whoa," you know.
Yeah, it kills me. Some of his interviews are comical because it's just like they'll ask him such a question like why didn't McDonald ever get punished? Because well, he's a veteran presence and we need a veteran presence on our team. But yeah, but you lost 10 games in a row. I was like, well, we're gonna work out of it. We're gonna be okay. I'm like, what? Like you got 0 points out of a possible 20 and you're gonna be okay? Like you should be like ready to throw people on like make them the death skate from the 80s or something. Like that's what I want to hear. Instead of no, it's okay. We're gonna work things out. We're a fun-loving family. Like what? I don't know. He doesn't walk that line of like protecting his teammates and trying to say the right thing and telling the truth. And it's comical how bad it can be at times. But it's like if I do watch it, it's only usually after a win or a blowout loss, because if they lose a close one, I get really mad. It's just who I am. I can't help it. So I'm going to turn everything off and, go hide in the corner or something. But, like, to break down what you were saying, and I liked it because I agree with you, you basically broke down a good defense is a good offense. And that's the Hacksaw turtle. How do you turtle? It's like turtling with a very weak shell. Like, it makes no sense to me. It's like, why would you do that? If your strength is not your shell, your defense and goalie, why would you do that? It's silly, On
the other end, man, you have the strength of the team is the offense, the top 2-3 lines. Dude, send them into the other zone. Like, just cycle the goddamn puck or hold it behind the net. Like, puck possession, dude. Yeah,
it's there's so many analogies I can think of, and it's just sad, and it always tends to cost them. And I really poor Konechny, I really liked what I've seen out of him this year. Even in losing causes, he seems to be the only energetic one, and he's really been like 2 or 3, 4 times by the post and crossbars costing points, and probably cost the Flyers points too. Because if he buries that against San Jose, we're not even having this conversation. So. So they drop that to San Jose, and they play Arizona tonight. And don't let this game fool you. This team is getting a little bit better. Their defense is really tightening up, and that's dangerous for the Flyers because they have their own issues. So if their offense gets shut down, we're looking at 2 L's. Now, I don't want to be dramatic, but like it's not looking good. I'm really surprised. I'll be surprised how they look tonight. If they open up the scoring early, I'll be shocked. Because this team, if they got anything right, Tocchet has them defensively a lot better. And, you know, all they got to do is get one and they could beat us if our offense doesn't show up.
Pretty good penalty kill, too. I was reading the Flyers are going to get their fair share of power plays. But the Coyotes are pretty lethal on the penalty kill. So we got to – and the Flyers are one of the worst teams that allow shorthanded goals. So that
especially opportunities. I think there was in the San Jose game, I think San Jose took a too many men penalty, and it was like, wow, this is a gift of a penalty right now for where we're at in the game. You need to capitalize on that. And even if you don't score, you got to do stuff to make them tired at least, like almost score, have some tired players, have it affect them. There were two really quality chances against us. It was a pathetic power play. And that's our strength. Isn't that sad? So I really don't like what I've seen out of Couturier on a consistent basis. And that's what it is. It's accountability and consistency are the two biggest problems. Like you said, there's almost zero accountability, and they're consistently inconsistent. They can't string together like consistent efforts. We finally saw it against two shit West Coast teams. Two bottom dwellers. Old, and the problem with both of those teams is they're getting old. LA more than Anaheim. By the way, both teams started their backup goalies. I just want to remind you of that. It was Ryan Miller for Anaheim and Jack Campbell for the Kings. So you're not even playing against and both Gibson and Click are two of the best goalies in the league. So we snuck by both of those teams. I mean, they did look good for periods of times, not whole periods. But, yeah, it's a consistent effort. It's not there. And then when things fall apart, there's no accountability, and that's why they are horrible. And accountability starts at the top up, and I'm not talking about Hackstall. I'm talking about Hackstall. He's not holding Hackstall accountable, or any of his other coaches for that matter. I think they all need to be taken out, except for maybe the guy they hired last year, who's supposed to be the power play guy. I can't remember his name right now, but everybody else got to go. Gord Murphy's our defensive coach. Defense is a massive problem. We already talked about Lapierre, and we obviously know about Hacksaw. So heads need to roll, and because they don't, it just trickles down, and nobody's held accountable for anything. Yeah. You know what's sad? You know, what do you think of the third line? Simmons, Weiss, and I think it's Wheel. Yeah, Wheel. You know who the best player on that line is?
Weiss.
Isn't that
line? They look good.
They look good, but like we shouldn't even be talking about him. You know what I mean? If we are, it's because he screwed up. Because I expect that. How's Couturier looked for you so far in the year? He's your first line center, and he gets power play time.
I would say he looks like he's still recovering from an injury, so he doesn't look good.
I hope that's what it is. He got his first assist. I think it was against Anaheim. That's how many games into the season? He had 3 goals before that, so 4 points on. That's piss poor. You are the center.
I don't know if he's a top line guy, to be honest. Like he's good. He's very, very
He was so good last year. It's like, I don't need you to do what you did last year, but come close to it. I'm praying it's the injury, because he was supposed to go number 2 in the draft of his draft year, but he got mono and missed like 9 months of the season or something crazy, you know? So he's fell. But I don't know. Like last year and this year are like night and day.
I don't know if he's got the career. I mean, you could. If you want to, I really don't want to do this, but if you compare him to the other top line centers in the league, like his creativity is, it's uncomparable to the other guys. Like he's just that kind of guy.
That's a really good point too. He doesn't have like a one skill that is better than the other. Like he's good defense, but if you're top, it's not your best asset. You know, gets compared to Bergeron. Like Bergeron can pass. Bergeron can protect the puck and can stick handle. Like pretty damn good. Where I don't think Coots is great at any of those. No. Especially protecting the puck. He doesn't win all the board battles as much as you'd like him to. A lot of it for me is also positionally. The low to high really gets on my nerves. Like, why does nobody operate behind the net anymore? If you're having issues scoring, especially a 5-on-5, why not change it up? Like, I don't I just don't get it. Like,
You know who's playing really well behind the net is Lindblom, and I'm kind of excited about Lindblom because he looks.
I know. I mean, his goal against Anaheim was extreme. Was it Anaheim or LA? I thought it was Anaheim.
I don't remember. He had.
I can't believe that. I can't believe it counted. But listen, he's already got almost as much points as he had last year, and he's played maybe just over half as many games.
He looks. Remember, we said in the beginning of the year, I think he had a goal, maybe the second game. I think it was the first game. How calm he looked, where he didn't just throw the puck in front of the net. I think.
It was the first game. His goal of the year, I think.
So he has it in him to be an NHL player, like a second or third line guy. He can definitely contribute. We'll say that.
If I had to take out what I've liked, I'd say I would still put Simmons in there because he does have a lot of goals. Definitely Lindblom. It's nice to see Patrick finally doing a little something.
Yeah, he looks
Gudis has played better. Sanheim, Hag for a bit. I need him better defensively. I'm not relying on him for his offense. Like, we all know that. Like, come on. Definitely not any of the goaltending. I thought Elliott had some strong games, but ultimately, if you take his season as a whole, it's been pretty piss poor. Drew's okay. There's not a whole lot. I shouldn't be like going already. Weiss. I'm really going to throw Weiss out there. Anything you find good in Wheel, you're going to be like, yeah, but he takes 110 penalty minutes, so like that really doesn't help at all. JVR's been hurt. But we can't keep giving them excuses, man. Like, they're way too talented to be performing this poorly, and that is the coaching. So
frustration comes from the fans. That's what they don't get. Like, this could be a pretty solid team, and they're messing it up, man. And we all know that. That's why
just because you bring it up again, and I'm thinking about it. What really irks me about those fans' comments, it's like, who do you think you are? Like, right. We grew up as a winning organization. Yeah, we don't have a lot of cups to show for it, but my entire childhood and teenage life, we were always at the dance. We were always there. We were like the Capitals are, like how they were winning the President's trophies and first and second in the league and the division. Like, that was the Flyers for me, and they never bitched about no fans. You know what I mean? Like, they just did what they had. And then they had playoff success as well. Like, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals. They made it to the Cup a couple of times. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals like 4 times. Like, they were always there. This team gets bounced in the first round, looks pathetic, and they look so bad. And it's like, look at the Ed Snyder thing. What was Ed Snyder all about? Winning. Hacksaw would have been fired last year if he made it that far, if Ed Snyder was still alive and all that, and he's all about winning and giving it your all. This team would make him puke. He had this little red phone that goes directly to the GM, and when he gets pissed off during the game, he picks up that phone and he lets the GM have it. And that's why things change.
He's to the fire a little bit more than he is now. I think you're right about that.
Yes. Now they put up with more bullshit because he's gone, and I get that for the long term. But for the players that cry about the fans, it's comical. It's like, we don't have a whole lot of money like some of the people who go to these games. And some of the efforts they put forth, like when they lost to Washington 6-1 on Ed Snyder night, like, are you serious?
Yo, could you imagine if Ed Snyder was alive and they were saying this kind of shit? Like, they're talking about the customers, really. Like, you can't do that kind of shit. Could you imagine if they said this stuff while he was alive?
Listen, Ed Snyder had a really good rapport with his players. He would let them have it. He would. He was a no-nonsense guy. He would be like, just stop. Just stop. You're getting paid millions of dollars. You are a talented hockey player. Pull your shit together and figure it out, or you're out of here. And that's what, do you think they hold their sticks tight or play a little tight at home? How do you think that is going to make them feel? They'll figure something out. Their heads would roll. And you know what? We were a lot more successful when Snyder was alive. And since he's been gone, haven't even won a playoff series. Yeah. Get absolutely embarrassed. They try to cry about the fans. I can't believe you threw those things on the ice. They deserve that. I'm sorry. They 100% deserve that. So we took a 2-minute penalty. Okay, that's going to help you in your 6-1 shellacking.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get a little upset about it because it's like, shut up, just go play. Do your job, because we always show up. We're
Dude,
always
the big bucks are playing
always there.
a game, dude. Like, how about just go have fun? How about that? Like, that's all that matters is have fun. You know, like, just fucking play the game. Sorry for cursing, whoever's watching.
I'm
Sorry.
trying to stop with the F-bomb, but yeah, I understand. You know, we're passionate here. We're upset. You know, and it's like I have written down the last 6 games, and they split, and they got actually more points than you'd have thought. They lost, they won, and then they lost in overtime. So it doesn't look that bad. But they were like 4-7 before that happened.
Well, you brought up consistency, and even if this team, if they were losing, but they showed the same effort, the same consistent effort, where you know that eventually these losses are going to start turning to W's. You know, where it's now is they can't even stay consistent through an entire game. You know, one period they'll come out soft, and the next period they'll show a little bit of fight back, but right away, it just goes right back the other way. They can't stay consistent through an entire game, let alone a couple games in a row, and that's what's frustrating.
Well, and that's why it took them so long to win back-to-back games for the first time in the season, and they followed that up with a pretty decent game against a really good team, and then it just all fell apart with the last, I don't know, 7 minutes of the game. That includes overtime, and it really stinks to see that 1 point slip away when you were just doing so well. But that's it, and the way they lost it was some pretty big. It was a big gaffe on Ghost's part, but Picard definitely doesn't help. And now with Neuwirth and Elliott both injured, what a shock! It's not even Christmas time, or it's not even Thanksgiving time, and both of them are out. Neuwirth, I don't even know what to say. Like, at this point, I just feel bad for the guy, but I think he's going to have to seriously consider a new job. Like, what did he do to get hurt? Why? What's happening? Is there some kind of bug eating away at his like bones and muscle or something crazy like that?
That's what happens.
I don't know. He's done. And then Elliott, I don't know what the injury is, but it wouldn't surprise me if the equipment's not big enough and I'm getting bruised and I'm hurt now, because he was one of the main goalies complaining about the new equipment and getting bruised by the puck. These guys would have never made it in the 70s.
You know what though? You know what that tells me? A guy like him is he's kind of comfortable, he's kind of privileged, he's crying about the equipment, blah blah blah. And I'm not saying that Alex Lyon and Cal Picard are the answers, but you throw those two guys and they'll play in whatever the hell you give them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what sucks, because now we got Picard and Loin. I think Loin, we're gonna see Loin start at home. I mean, because otherwise I don't know why he's not starting now, because Picard really, he gives up some pretty bad softies, man, and it's gonna hurt you.
It's a little awkward making some saves. It's like, wow, I've never seen a goal.
I feel like if we lose tonight, it will be like a 2-0 or 2-1, and I feel like maybe even more. I don't know. In the goals that Picard gives up, I bet you he's gonna want like at least half of them back. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it's gonna be like that. And if it's 1-0, it's gonna be a bad goal. I don't know. I look at Phoenix's lineup, and obviously they got Oliver Ekman-Larsson on D. Jason Demers has some offensive ability. Yarmolson's he's been around, you know. Goligoski, he's older, but he's got offensive ability. You look at goaltending, Ranta's much better than what we got, and they're good defensively. Their forwards actually pitch in. Speaking of their forwards, Galchenyuk centering the line with Clayton Keller. I'm just going to throw out through a few names, not everything. Got Derek Stefan. Grabner has not looked like the same player he was last year. And then their fourth line's all names. Lawson Krause was a guy. A lot of the old school people who don't know anything about the Flyers were like, yeah, they're going to draft him instead of Provorov because he's like a Hartnell type player. And of course we didn't, and I'm glad we didn't. Florida drafted him and traded him just to get rid of a contract. That's how bad they didn't want. And I'm glad he made the NHL, because I don't have anything against the guy, but it just was funny to watch people who know nothing about Philly and take that they like fighters and checkers. Oh, they're going to take this guy. Like, no, we're not. Dylan Strome, who was picked before the likes of Mitch Marner, actually the same draft, funny enough. I'm glad he's in the NHL for his own cause. And then Nick Cousins, good old Nick Cousins on the right wing, fourth line. So
I think we need to keep an eye on Nick Cousins tonight. I know it sounds weird to say, but
no, it doesn't. It doesn't because you always want to. They don't play a lot, so it's hard to make your formal team pay. So
yeah.
I know why you said that, but no, I agree with you actually. Our line is pretty much the same. One player we didn't talk about. What have you seen so far, and what do you like from All Kubel?
Dude, I like it. He looks like
Right?
he belongs. You know, he doesn't look awkward. I remember in preseason, I think I said the complete opposite. He looked like he was a step behind. He didn't look like he belonged in preseason, but whatever he was doing in the AHL, he brought with him to the NHL, and he looks solid. He looks physical. He's not getting beat. He's making smart passes, and he just looks like he belongs in the NHL. So overall, I'm pretty happy with all the Kubel.
And that's what it is. I heard this. Somebody, I don't remember who it was. They were just like, I just want him to actually stay with the team. I don't want this to be an injury call up. And I think it's possible. He's going to have to net a goal or two, but he's got time, you know. And if they're already, what scares me is how quickly they were done with Voiborov. And it was like, that was just silly because he did a lot to impress you in camp to make the team. And the second you started seeing things you didn't like, you didn't coach him up or nothing. You just sat him. What's he going to learn being sad? I'll never understand Hackstall.
He's doing pretty well back in the AHL. From what I'm reading, supposedly he looks like he's standing out. Like he belongs in the NHL. But
I was just going to say, sounds like he belongs here, you know? So, yeah. But, you know, given how bad our defense can be at times, how ineffective our offense and power play can be, how horrible our penalty kill is in our goaltending situation, I actually used to think that Hackstall was better than one coach, and that was Rick Tocchet. Now I don't know because he made this team play pretty good defensively. So if you ask me to make a prediction tonight, I'm 3-2 loss like in regulation. Like I just don't see no fire in this team, and it's like they beat two crap teams, they lose to an actual team, and it's probably back to status quo of inconsistency and making mistakes, and Hackstall's on the bench has no clue what to do. And I think might lose both of these, but Hackstall's job couldn't be more safe.
That's what I hate, because if they do win tonight and they play well Thursday, I want to get excited. Like they just went on a West Coast trip. They go 3-1. They lose a tough one to one of a team that I picked to actually win the Stanley Cup in the Sharks. And you should feel good about that. You should feel happy. They're coming home. They're going to play Arizona again, take 2 points. But I just don't feel that way. I feel like I'm waiting for the letdown. They just won 2 out of 3 games, and I feel like they just lost. I feel like it's tough to get excited for this team.
No, you're definitely not wrong about that. Excited, or you're waiting to get let down. I'm waiting to get angry. I'm waiting to see some asinine play that you just don't see other teams do. And it's like they almost like hang in there, and either it's because, and all I can really say is because of Picard. You're going to see like a real soft goal that makes you go like they were doing decently, and that crap goes in, or you're going to see a complete breakdown, and you're just like, really? Like he did.
That's deflating. You know what it's like if you're playing and your goalie lets in a soft goal. You're like, dude, I'm busting my ass out here, and you're letting that stuff in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is deflating. Deflating is the perfect word to use, especially when it's on the penalty kill. Can you like a lot of the players don't play on the penalty kill, and they're killing themselves out there. And even if you take a penalty, well, a lot of times you take a penalty because you're really trying and you don't want to give up a play, or you just want a little too hard, or you're fighting for the puck and your stick hits the guy in the face. So the penalties like that, like, all right, come on, guys, like, please pick me up. I'm playing my ass off here. I made a mistake in all my, I got a little too hyped up. It happens.
That's a good point.
And they don't even cover the guy in front of the net. And like you said, Simmons is probably, well, what the hell, guys? I get killed in front of the net. You can't even put a leg on him or like get near him or something. Simmons gets eaten alive in front of the net. Why do anybody who does it to us is free as a bird? And 9 times out of 10, it either goes off of him and in, or he gets the rebound or something like that. You know what I mean?
Good point.
So I don't know. And how these grown adults who have been in their hockey their whole lives don't look at tape and say, oh, you know what? We left that guy wide open and try to fix it. And if this is the same guy doing it, why don't you take him out? You have other players. I know you only got 6 defensemen, but when something's that broke, you really need to fix it.
So I got 2 things for you. So I think in the last game they had Giroux and Couturier playing together on the penalty kill. What do you think about that?
I think your best players need to be on the ice as much as possible, and especially on this team because the supporting cast is pretty bad. Ultimately, it's cute, but the defense is the problem. So until Giroux starts playing defense, like literally the position, I don't think there's going to be much of a change. They can't get the puck out of their own zone. Thank God we're allowed to dump the puck on a penalty kill, or they might get scored on every time. Like it is absolutely a travesty at times.
So I like that he went to go play on the power play. I mean, penalty kill, whether he's making that a difference or not. As long as he's out there busting his ass, to me that's a leadership thing. It's kind of, you know, I'll take care of this myself kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that. And he did the same thing last year when he's like, yeah, okay, I'll go to wing. He didn't argue it, you know. And he's more of a lead by example kind of guy. So I don't want to get on him for not being verbal. He's no Pronger. You know what I mean? So this is the kind of stuff we'd like to see him do. But I don't think he's going to make Folin play any better. McDonald, if he ever comes back, I don't think he's going to suddenly start playing better. Those guys are who they are, and there's no changing them. You know, so I can only hope that Sanheim and, you know, maybe even Ghost and Provorov get a little like, oh, okay, you know. But the other guys are lost causes.
So you just since you brought up D pair or Ghost and Provorov and Sanheim, what do you think about changing up the D pairings to I have Ghost sitting on the third line D pairing with Folin or whether it's McDonald. Then I have Provorov matched up with Sanheim and Hag matched up with Gudis. Because Gudis is more stay-at-home. Hag looks like he's showing some offensive ability. Provorov and Sanheim obviously would be the top pair. Sanheim looks like he's a little more comfortable. I would like to see more minutes out of him. Pair him up with Provorov. Ghost being on the third line, you already know how I feel about Ghost, but I don't think he's the best defenseman. He's more offensive. He's still going to get his minutes on the power play or whether it's 4-on-4, 3-on-3 type stuff. But give the guys who are playing good now more minutes. And if Ghost steps his game up 5-on-5, all right, cool. He doesn't have to be stuck down there, you know. He could still get 20 minutes eventually. But reward the guys who are playing well. Why do you have to keep Cap and Sanheim and Gudis at 15, 16 minutes a game when they're arguably our best defensive pairing up to now? Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. The only thing I would say is I think Hag and Gudis would be way too slow for some of these. The teams are just so much faster now. Gudis or Ghost. It might look on paper like the third pairing, but they're going to play him as much as they can because he's too good offensively. And I've been hating on him a lot, but when you see him skate and stick handle sometimes, like I still get like, oh God, he's good. You know what I mean? Like offensively, he's good. Like, and it's a shame. It's like I really wish he could lock down defense, or you can get him a defensive partner who's just like amazing. You know, because he's too good. And so I don't think they'll do that. I don't even know if I would do that. What I would like to see, I want to see Provorov with Folin. I feel like they could complement each other, and then put Ghost with Hag. I don't want to say Gudis. And then, you know, but the idea of Provorov and Sanheim really intrigues me, and I would love to see that. It's a shame we won't, because that means the other deep pairings would be so bad that you're screwed. And that's a Hextall thing. You need to get better talent here, just flat out.
If they could just get one top 4, like stay-at-home defenseman, I think a lot of their issues may go away a little bit. I mean, I know it's easier said than done, but one stay-at-home guy maybe to play with Ghost, and you have a top 4 all of a sudden.
No, I agree. If we had like a Mark Mathot even kind of guy, he's not going to make no All-Star games, but he just knows how to play defense. It's simple as that. He was great with Carlson, and Dallas wanted him, and Cody Cece, another Ottawa Senator defenseman. He's not bad. These are good. They're not expensive. They're not going to get him. I'm just saying, like guys who just can play their position, and you're not looking at him for. Did he just fall while doing nothing? Did he slide too early? Did he pinch when he shouldn't? They don't do things like that. They just know how to play defense. And put a guy like that with Ghost. Put a guy like that with Provorov and Sanheim, and let them use their offensive ability. And that's the only way this defense is going to get better. You have to get rid of guys like McDonald. Obviously, Foligno's a joke. He shouldn't be playing like how he's playing. He should be in the press box because McDonald's so bad. He's getting full playing time. And meanwhile, I know Myers isn't killing it. You can't tell me that if you stuck McDonald or Foligno on the Phantoms, they would play better than Myers. They wouldn't.
You would expect
Myers real quick. People like to say Myers isn't killing it and for the Phantoms. Like, okay, great. Neither would these clowns. And that's all I want. You know what I mean?
You had to get that in, huh?
I'm just like, because I keep hearing that. Well, he's not killing it up there. It's like, well, you think they would? Have you seen what they're doing? Like, they are literally a circus act.
I mean, the only if he was in the NHL and he was playing like McDonald and Folan was, there would still be benefits to that, like personal growth. Like he would get better over time instead of just stewing around in the NHL, just waiting to be called up. Because that's pretty much what the deal is. He's waiting to get called up. He knows it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they don't bench him, that would make me angrier than anything if he's in the press box. Because you don't learn a damn thing. Like we went through hell with Laterre and Weiss, and we never got to really see what we had in Lierre. I'm surprised Wheel got a second chance. I don't think he's an NHL player. He was fringe, maybe, but it's just a shame. It's like we got to watch this slop. We know what they are, and we can't see our actual good players. Like, what are you doing? Like, obviously, if they were winning, I could defend that. Like, well, they're winning right now, so I get it. They weren't. They were horrible, So, and especially this season. I mean, yeah, they haven't gone on any 10-game losing streaks yet, but overall, they have a team to do it. They have the team to do it. I can tell you that. Now with the goaltending going down, they're really screwed.
Yeah, man, it's going to be interesting. I had one more thing. Oh, I have a trade scenario for you that I stumbled upon.
Ooh.
It got an A- from I think it was TSN or Hockey Insider gave it an A-.
Does it involve Calgary or Ottawa?
It involves Toronto.
Nylander?
Yeah. So it was William Nylander plus Jake Gardner and a second pick for Wayne Simmons, a fourth-round pick, and Shane Gostisbehere.
Ooh, I knew there was a massive piece missing.
I saved it for the end for you.
Well, I'll tell you this. I wouldn't do it because I think Gardner and Gostisbehere are very similar defensemen. So what I think is what could happen is Simmons, and this is just for Nylander, Simmons and Sanheim are the pieces you'd probably be moving. And I would do it. I hate to say it because I like how Sanheim's progressing, but William Nylander could be a top 6 forward for like 10 years, and that just makes the rest of your – and you can't re-sign Simmons, so you give him a bridge deal, clear some cap, and then you sign him long-term, and he's legit. That being said, you still have issues on D, so I don't know if Ron would pull the trigger. So that's how I feel. I did hear some real trade rumors. I do like your scenario, so don't stop throwing them at me. I like talking about it.
No, this was something that I found. I can't take credit for it.
Well, keep throwing them at me anyway, because I like talking about it. I did hear that Hextall had kicked the tires on Mike Smith in Calgary, who isn't exactly killing it. He would be better than everybody we have on our roster, possibly even Elliott, because that's who Calgary got when they said no to Elliott the 1 year he spent with Calgary, and then he came here. So obviously they think he's better. But the one that really intrigued me was Craig Anderson from the Ottawa Senators. I thought he was coming here sooner than later because I believe his wife had cancer and her treatments were in Philly, and I think he liked the area. Maybe making that last part up, I don't know. He's a lot older, but he's a stopgap, and he's a pretty good goalie wherever he's
I really like Craig Anderson, and he always plays well against us.
Don't you think you could get him for pretty cheap? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it would cost a ton.
Yeah.
Throw one of our goalies, send them back. Give him Elliott for all I care.
I'm not sure. Do they have anybody in the pipeline, Ottawa? Who's even their backup? Do you know off the top of your head?
Well, it was the Hamburglar, Daryl Hammond, but he's with Minnesota, I think now. So he's out of there. They do have somebody up and coming, I think, but they keep trading everybody. Like they had Robin Lehner. They traded him to Buffalo. He's with the Islanders now. So I'm not even sure. I'd have to look again because they keep trading everybody. They may have one person who's getting a little steam, but I don't know his name.
I think it's to fall off over there, and they will eventually in Ottawa. They may start to look for a move, and I think if the Flyers aren't in the market for a goalie, because I don't think Carter Hart's going to be the starting goalie next year. I don't know if you're following him with the fan. I'm sure you are, but he's not really lighting it up down there. I could see maybe halfway through the year next year, maybe they call him up as a backup or whatever. But I think
you don't want to rush him, and you're right. He's not killing it, so they need to do something in the meantime. That's why actually Bobrovsky's been brought up, not as a trade scenario, but as a signee. But he's going to cost too much, and he doesn't look good this year, so I wouldn't go that route.
When he won the Vezina, in a shortened season, by the way.
I think he won a second one in a full season.
Yeah, that's super crazy for Bob. There was always something about him.
Yeah, it's playoffs. He falls apart.
Dude, he makes amazing saves, but then he gives up some weak ass goals. And
he kind of reminds me, and I'm not saying he's anywhere near as good as, but he kind of reminds me. And I'll be honest, I don't even think he plays that much similar at all. But he reminds me of Dominik Hasek in the way that when Hasek got scored on, it was because the puck did something he didn't expect it to do, or it went through the net. Like John Clare. Like it deflected at the last second, or he expected the way it was shot to come more towards his glove, and it takes a weird angle and gets under his arm or something weird like that because he was that good. With Bobrovsky, it's very similar, except for there's a lot more range of things that go wrong or that he thinks is going to happen. And he's remember that Coots goal? What the hell happened there? Fluttered in the air and he never even saw it and went in. So I don't know. I think he's also disgruntled right now in Columbus. So that doesn't help it either. So there's the wheels are kind of falling off with him. I don't think he's worth the money.
Tortorella, because all of a sudden everybody wants out of Columbus.
Yeah, it all started with Panarin, who just flat out said, "I want to play in a big city," and it's a shame because it feels like it affected the team. I don't know. He's got to play better if Columbus is going to be better, which is a shame because they got such a good defense. And they got some names, too. If they could keep that team together and add to it, they might be something. But if they're going to start losing pieces like this, I know they got Corpusalo, but he's not Bob. So I don't know. We'll see. I really hope that it's one thing to hear that Hextall is making, talking to other teams. It's another thing to actually do something about it and make the trade, finally pull the trigger. So I'm hoping to see that because so far when he's traded away players, I've liked the return minus the Scott Hartnell deal. I love what he got for Braden Coburn. That was phenomenal. Even Tiemann, he got 2 second-round picks for a guy who didn't play all season. Yeah. But as far as trading for players, I don't think we've seen that. What player has he added to this team and given up assets for? Nothing. He signed JVR and Weiss, and we haven't seen enough of JVR. And Weiss was looking like a complete dud and still is unless he continues to play the way he's playing. So I'm a little nervous. I don't know what he's going to give up. I think he'll be okay, though. I think I trust his asset management. It's his ability to judge talent, I guess, at the top-tier level, but mainly with the coaching. So, I mean, that's where we stand, I guess. So we'll see how they do tonight. That game is going to start in about 10 minutes. So I guess we should I think we said all we could say. What do you think they do tonight?
It's hard. It's hard for me to go against them, so I'm going to say 3-2 win in a shootout.
That would be cool. I can't see Picard winning in a shootout. I think Picard gets scored on all 3 times.
Honestly, I thought I was going to say exactly what you said. I was going to say they were going to lose 3-2 in a shootout, but I can't go against them, so I'm going to say 3-2 win in a shootout. Miraculous.
I'll stick with my 3-2 loss, but give me this. Who does Nick Cousins score against us tonight?
No, but I think he scores in a shootout.
Okay, that's interesting. I was going to say no, but I think he scores when we go back to Philly. And final question. I did say 3-2, so that means somebody from the Flyers scores. Who are the 2 goals? You said 3-2, so that means they score 2 goals. So who are the 2 goal scorers for the Flyers?
I'm going to go Simmons. And, dude, I just wanted to say Dale Weiss, so I'm going to say Dale Weiss and Wayne Simmons.
Third line, getting it done, huh? I'm gonna say Konechny. I think his speed is something that can beat a good defense because it causes matchup problems. And I think he gets lucky. It goes off the post and in. So, and then I'll say I was between 3 guys. I was like Nolan Patrick, Lindblom, you know. So I think I'll go. It'd be nice if Nolan Patrick stayed hot. I'll go with Nolan Patrick. So, so for me, the second line getting it. Oh, I guess Konechny got moved. He's on the first line, which would be great, especially if Couturier and Giroux could get assists. Yeah. So the keys to the game are to not fall apart. It's sad to say that. It's sad to say that because they do that. Oh, don't let this happen. Don't let that happen. And that's all cute and all, but no, you really can't play like one of those teams that they just don't look like they played together for all these years. You just don't look like that, and you'll probably be fine. It's the Phoenix Coyotes. Like, come on. So if we lose, I think it's going to be Picard before it's anything else.
Good point. Good point.
That's all I got tonight.
We're going to wrap this one up, guys. Thanks for watching. Find me on Twitter, @AngryJim_FHW Radio. And Jack, Flyers Yak. And we're going to wrap this up. So thanks for tuning in. Go Flyers.